It began on a cold morning inside a military base cafeteria where routine met silence and silence met duty. Soldiers lined up for breakfast, boots echoing across the steel floor, each man lost in his own thoughts of orders, drills, and upcoming missions. Among them moved a quiet woman, serving food with calm precision. Her name was Elena, and to most, she was invisible, another civilian worker going through another day. But that changed the moment the general saw the black ink beneath her sleeve, a raven spreading its wings across her wrist. That tattoo was not just ink. It was a symbol that carried stories, secrets, and scars from a past that refused to fade. That one glimpse would unravel a truth buried beneath uniforms, hierarchy, and silence, a truth about courage, identity, and the unseen strength of those who serve in shadows without recognition. She was serving food, but life was about to serve her a reckoning that would redefine what it meant to serve, to remember, and to rise. Every symbol holds a story, and that tattoo was no exception. The raven wasn't a decoration, it was a legacy. For Elena, the raven represented resilience born from ashes. Years ago, before she worked in the mess hall, she had served as a field nurse during a forgotten conflict where lives were measured in seconds and bravery in whispers. The raven had become her reminder of survival, of the night she saved a platoon when enemy fire rained from all sides. She was not supposed to be there, not supposed to survive, but when she did, the tattoo became her silent oath. The general, who once commanded that field, recognized the mark instantly. He remembered a masked medic who ran through chaos to pull his men out, a medic who disappeared after the war. That raven tattoo was the proof of the unsung. And as he looked at her now, he realized that sometimes the bravest soldiers wear no uniform, and sometimes heroes return not with medals, but with memories burned into their skin. What the general saw was more than a mark, it was a mirror reflecting the unseen layers of service. Many people believe courage is defined only by ranks, medals, or parades, but true courage often hides in ordinary faces. Elena's story reminds us that heroism is not limited to those on the front lines. It can exist in those who patch wounds, feed the hungry, or quietly hold together a system that would crumble without them. Her presence in that cafeteria was symbolic of a truth often ignored. Societies survive not just through warriors, but through the healers, the helpers, and the ones who continue to serve long after the battle's end. Her tattoo was her armor, invisible to most but powerful to those who understood the weight of history carried in silence. The general's reaction was not about surprise alone, it was about recognition. He saw in her the face of a forgotten narrative, the narrative of women who stood in shadows of war, who carried the same fears, endured the same losses, but rarely shared the same acknowledgement. The raven on her skin became a symbol of all those stories that never made it into textbooks or ceremonies. It spoke for every nurse, translator, supply runner, or medic who had stood their ground when everything else fell apart. The world often remembers war through the lens of power, but Elena's tattoo forced everyone to see it through the lens of endurance. In that single encounter, the general was reminded that leadership is not only about commanding troops, but about honoring the silent pillars who hold the moral structure of courage. Her story became an unexpected lesson about how society measures worth. We live in a world obsessed with visible success, medals, positions, or accolades, yet true service often goes unnoticed. The woman serving food carried more battlefield wisdom than many who still wore stars on their shoulders. The general realized that while ranks can fade, the spirit of service cannot. Every act of quiet dignity, every unseen sacrifice, is a thread woven into the fabric of human resilience. That tattoo reminded him that those threads are often the strongest, binding generations together through stories that whisper rather than shout. It teaches us that sometimes, greatness is not about being remembered, but about continuing to serve, even when no one is watching. As whispers spread across the cafeteria, soldiers began to see her differently. Some recognized the story the general told later, about the medic who carried men through the mud under fire, about the raven inked on her arm that guided her like a compass through darkness. That day, Elena did not speak much, but her silence spoke louder than words. She taught them that resilience is not loud, it breathes quietly through ordinary actions. Her tattoo, once hidden, became a lesson in how symbols carry truth. The raven, known in mythology as both a messenger and a guardian, represented the connection between loss and rebirth. For Elena, it symbolized the part of her that refused to die in war, the part that found purpose in serving again, even if in a different way. Through her, we are reminded that service is not limited to the battlefield. It exists wherever someone chooses responsibility over comfort, duty over recognition, and purpose over fear. The general, in that moment, saw not just a woman with a tattoo, but a reflection of his own duty, to remember those whose service has been overshadowed by the noise of history. The story of that raven tattoo became a spark of realization, not only for him but for everyone who witnessed it. It revealed how often we overlook quiet strength because it does not fit into the narratives we expect. But when we pause and look closer, we find that history is not written only by those who command armies, but also by those who keep humanity alive amid destruction. Her presence changed the atmosphere around her. Soldiers began to approach her with respect, not because of the general's reaction, but because they understood something profound, that humility and strength can coexist. She never spoke of her past, never demanded recognition. She served with the same quiet grace, embodying the truth that true heroes do not seek validation. The raven tattoo became a reminder that scars and ink can carry deeper meaning than medals ever could. It taught everyone who saw it that survival itself is an act of defiance, and that those who continue to serve after losing everything embody a rare kind of bravery. The general's discovery also became a turning point for him personally. He began to question the way valor was recognized and how easily the unseen contributions of many are forgotten. Alina's story compelled him to advocate for those who serve in silence, not just soldiers, but every person who carries the weight of responsibility without applause. It redefined his understanding of leadership. Leadership, he realized, is not about standing above others, but about recognizing the worth in everyone's journey. That day, the general didn't just see a tattoo, he saw the essence of resilience itself. He saw how a single act of survival could ripple through time, inspiring others to serve with heart rather than pride. As weeks passed, the story of the woman with the raven tattoo spread beyond the base. It became a quiet legend told among the ranks, a reminder that service has many faces and that courage wears many forms. To some, it was a story of redemption. To others, a story of identity reclaimed. But to everyone who heard it, it was a story about how small moments can reveal great truths. The raven on her arm was no longer just her memory, it became a shared symbol of what it means to endure, to serve, and to find light after darkness. Every time she ladled soup into a soldier's bowl, she offered more than food, she offered proof that hope, once born in chaos, can still feed the world in peace. Her story teaches us to look beyond appearances, beyond uniforms and titles, and see the humanity that connects us all. It teaches that every person carries unseen battles, and sometimes the strongest people are those who never speak of them. The raven tattoo was a story written in ink but told through action, a mark that transformed a routine moment into a timeless lesson about empathy, respect, and the shared weight of memory. The general never forgot that moment, nor did anyone else who witnessed it. And maybe that is the greatest legacy of all, not the medals, not the ceremonies, but the quiet recognition that true service never ends, it simply changes form.